The type of football boots you wear says a lot about you as a person. A pair of F50s, you might be a Messi fanatic. Mercurials, you might be strapping the white tape to your socks and looking like 08 Ronaldo. Or some black Umbros and you become prime Ryan Shawcross. But what happened? The football boots still have that same feeling, that same appeal to fans. So in this video, let's take a look at the rise and fall of football boots. They've gone through different stages, haven't they? It started out as just some material a footballer would have to wear on his feet, to then a bit of a blank canvas where some designers can have a bit of fun with, to the modern day where it feels like the boots are an extension of the footballer. But has that changed? Because let me ask you a question. What boots did Steven Gerrard wear? You know it, don't you? It's the Adidas Predators. It goes straight off in your mind. You can imagine the exact type of boots he was wearing at Liverpool. It didn't feel like he chose those boots. It felt like a higher power lifted him up to the heavens and moulded them on his feet. If you were playing football with your mates in the 2000s and you're wearing those Adidas Predators, it felt like you'd develop a Teen Wolf hairline and have a wand of a right foot. Let's go back to go forward, and we need to look at the start of the popular football boot, and that has to be the Puma Kings. Eusebio was the main player who started with Pumas on, and he just won everything in them. He wore them in the 1966 World Cup, and then in 1968 Puma brought out the Kings, which saw players like Diego Maradona, Pele, Johan Cruyff wear. I mean, we might not think it nowadays where Puma are at in the modern footballing world, but we have to look back. Puma was so popular that Johan Cruyff made the Dutch team change their kit to match the Puma branding. I mean, the Kings were just so simple, weren't they? A folded tongue, a white stripe going up them. Some people will argue they are the greatest football boots to ever exist. But let's go to the modern day. What the hell has happened to Puma? Well, you'd probably say Nike and Adidas, but it's also star power, isn't it? You can have the best boots in the entire world, they can look the best on the shelves, but if you don't have a world-class player promoting them, you're not going to have a world-class boot. Lionel Messi carried the F50 brand for Adidas. Beauty is completely within the eye of the beholder, but come on, let's be serious. The F50s, they haven't really had that many nice boots. They've had a few, but not too many. But they've been popular because Lionel Messi has worn them. Cristiano Ronaldo. Look at me, I'm a lad from Leeds and I bought some Moonlight boots because I was a big fan of Cristiano Ronaldo. Puma has Neymar, who hasn't really played since PSG. They have Grealish, who probably wears them to the pub when he's not playing for City. And Jordan Pickford. No disrespect to those lads, but unless you have literally the nicest pair of boots in the world, and even still, you need a Vinicius Jr, you need an Mbappe, don't you? I admire the Puma designers because it's actually quite creative, the boots that they're able to push out, but not having any current superstars and also losing Griezmann to Decathlon of all companies is a huge blow, and that's basically their best player gone, isn't it? Let's go to Adidas though, the Copa Mundials. Did you ever forget your boots at school and your PE teacher came out with these? They don't seem to work that well in the rain, they've got moulded studs on them, they're heavy, and I guarantee half of you are watching this, someone in your family will have a pair of coppers. They were created for the 1982 World Cup, which gives them the nickname the World Cup boots, but they were brought out in 1979. Again, there'll be people arguing these are the most iconic boots of all time. I mean, we're talking about players like Franz Beckenbauer, Zinedine Zidane, Platini, Zico. Star power helped this boot get brought to the masses. But if we are talking about Adidas, we've got to rewind to the start of the video and talk about the Predators. The best, the greatest boot in my opinion. I don't think a boot has more legacy than the Adidas Predators. We've seen a comeback and they're becoming popular again. We're seeing players like Trent Alexander-Arnold wearing them. We're seeing players like Jude Bellingham wear them. For some reason, especially the ones that had the laces that you could strap under the studs, it made you feel like a pro footballer. The most boring debate, Scholes, Lampard, Gerrard. But the actual interesting debate is who had better boots, Steven Gerrard or Frank Lampard. It said what type of fan you were, it said what type of player you wanted to be. You could argue it even separated North versus South. In Liverpool you had the red and black ones, it was a bit more gritty because Gerrard was in midfield tackling players, whereas Lampard's, sometimes they were blue and white or they were white and blue. I mean, if you're wearing a pair of white boots, especially in the 2000s, you had to back it up for whatever reason. I mean, it wasn't just these lads wearing them, you have Rui Costa, Zidane again, David Beckham, again, star power. I used to drag my dad around Sports Direct and it felt like you were walking through a Hall of Fame, seeing all these players promoting the boots. But I'm not biased, let's give some love to the other Adidas boot that we spoke about. I just can't. Up until recently, I just can't say any F50 boots were that nice. They had maybe the best player to ever touch a football, and they blew it. It's like they created all of the designs with their eyes closed. But luckily, Predators carried them during that period, and despite having a bit of a fall off, they are making a huge comeback now. But let's move on to the annoying cool young brother of Adidas, and that is Nike. They came out of the gate strong with a cool design. They brought one pair of boots out in 1971 and they wanted players to wear them in the 1970 World Cup. No one did. Apparently they only made them in a size 9 and the material was meant for warmer climates, so they'd crack when they'd go into the American leagues when it got a bit colder. They look a bit similar to the Nike Cortez trainer, and I think out of all of the iconic boots, I don't think you can put this with the Coppers and the Puma Kings. They probably hold up the nicest today, don't they? It took Nike nearly a decade to release a new pair of football boots because they were focusing on other sports, mainly in America. Then in the 80s, they signed a few players, Ian Rush, Glenn Hoddle, but brands like Diadora, Puma, Adidas, they were so far ahead of them. But in my opinion, where Nike struck gold was where they brought out the Tiempos. If I haven't mentioned it, I am an Adidas predator man myself, but if there's something to tempt me, it is those Tiempos. But then they broke the industry when they brought out the first signature boot for R9. The Brazilian Ronaldo, they brought a signature boot for the 1998 World Cup in France. You're struggling to get a nicer design than this. If you're trying to get some of these boots nowadays, I think you're out of luck unless you want to pay stupid money. But it was in the same colours of the Brazilian kit, and it just suited him so well. They nearly had the absolute dream, because if it wasn't for Ronaldo's seizure before the France game, he could have won the World Cup in the first signature boots ever released. But this might be my main point of why football boots had a huge rise but also a big fall, because they gave Ronaldo signature boots. Why? Because he came runner-up in the Ballon d'Or in 1996 and won it in 1997. He was a global icon by the time he was 23. They built the boot around him because he was Ronaldo. Later on in the 2000s, they built the R10 Tiempos around Ronaldinho because he was Ronaldinho. He was a global icon. And with all due respect, I love Lamine Yamal. I think he's going to be a world-class player in the next couple of years. But he's got a signature boot. I mean, he's had, what, 2 pretty good seasons? Heung-min Son has a signature boot. And I know he's the biggest footballer in Asia, and I do understand it when I say that because it's a huge market that they can tap into. But still, Son, he's a brilliant player. He shouldn't get a signature boot. So signature boots have been massively devalued because what's the point? It seems like everyone can get one. Cody Gakpo got his own signature boot for playing really well in the Euros. I mean, it didn't go on sale, but, and again, I love him, but Cody Gakpo getting a signature boot, they might scout me at goals scoring a brace on a Tuesday night and give me one. But the 2000s, especially the marketing in England, they were really firing, weren't they, Nike? And let's be honest, it was the 2 lads at Man United, Cristiano Ronaldo with the Mercurials. But there's one type of boot that we haven't discussed yet, and that is the T90. You'll see at the moment in the Premier League, they're playing with a T90 ball, and it is the best ball. I mean, I'm 26 years old, and it's making me want to go to Sports Direct and pay £30 for a football. I'm not being funny. If you caught the ball on that T90 logo on the tongue of the boot, it's going in the top corner, and there's nothing the keeper can do about it. Of course, Wayne Rooney was the main man with the T90s. Seeing him on Wayne Rooney's Street Striker, seeing him being one of the best strikers in the world, just wearing those boots week in, week out, did it change? Is it just nostalgia? Have things got better? Have things gotten worse? I think boots have become more colourful, more creative, you could say. Probably less traditional from what you've seen in previous decades. But is that always for the better? I think it's probably a reflection on what players are popular at the minute. In the 2010s, wingers became the craze, didn't they? Neymar, Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo. None of them were wearing black and white Adidas boots, were they? Whereas in the 2000s, midfielders and defenders were a lot more popular. Everyone wanted to be Steven Gerrard in England, and if you didn't, you wanted to be Frank Lampard, and if you didn't want to be him, you'd be David Beckham. No one was thinking in their head, what boots do Ian Robben wear, or Theo Walcott for Arsenal? So that's probably one of the things. It just represents what the kids' favourite players are. I mean, you look at it, you got the sock boots, you got the Hypervenoms. It's so different than the Copa Mundials. And rightly so, because there are some heavy boots that I do not want to wear ever again. For me though, it just has to be star power. Of course, there are superstar footballers, but for one, there isn't the Messi and Ronaldo anymore, which people just didn't need any encouragement to buy F50s or Mercurials. But also, not to sound boring, a lot of players' social profiles are a lot higher than they were in the 2000s and 90s because of social media. So you can have a player like Memphis Depay who also got his signature boot. I mean, Memphis Depay is a decent player, but he's got a massive social profile, which makes him an A-list football celebrity. Whereas in the 90s and like 2000, Ronaldo, he was the A-list celebrity in football. So he was the icon to get his first signature boot. And that's the thing, I think it's also signature boots, because you're excited to buy Ronaldinho's boots because it felt like you were kind of connected to him in a way. Whereas nowadays, forgive me if I'm wrong, is any kid wanting to buy Harry Kane's signature boot for Skechers? And we'll leave it on that because football boots, there's still some great ones, aren't they? And I am loving the comeback of the Predators. And in the comments, let me know if you think I'm wrong. Let me know if you think football boots are booming at the moment. But in my opinion, they've just dropped off quite significantly. You can leave a like on the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, that'd be great. This isn't a re-upload, it's a video that I think I could have done a bit better, and I've just done it again basically. But thanks for watching.